everyone, welcome back to my channel again, and this time I'm gonna interview a second interview of the popular vlogger, the regular guy, and his name is Scott, and then his YouTube channel is the regular guy, and I made him a first interview, and now I request, but fortunately he granted me a second interview. And then this interview will be differ significantly from the first interview, and as I will ask candid and no holds barred nitty gritty questions. So Scott, thank you for the second interview. So,
all right, let's go.
Okay, let's get started. You spent a significant amount of years teaching English in South Korea. Please summarize dating a Korean woman and the amount of number or of relationship you had over the years.
Okay, well, when I went there the first time, I was very young. I was 22, and it was sort of good timing because this time it was like early 2000s, like I think 2002 or 2001. And at that time, there weren't many foreigners. And at the same time, the internet was just coming into play, you know, in terms of being broadly used. And so I had this huge advantage because number one, I was young. Number two, the girls had never seen a foreigner before. So I was a big deal, not like today. And number three, there was the internet. So that sort of broke down a barrier because when you're actually walking down the street in Seoul, you don't know who's interested in a foreigner. You know, I was a young guy. I was interested in any woman, right? So there was no barrier for me. But the problem was I didn't know if she liked me or if she spoke English. But when you use the internet, you had all these girls in Seoul, the most populous city of 20 million people, and they wanted a foreigner. And it's just sort of broke down the barrier. So it was just perfect timing. I was the youngest guy there. It was easy to meet because of the internet. And at this time, girls were interested in foreigners a lot more than they are today. So it was perfect timing when I got there. And I had a lot of fun because my very first visit, I was there for 6 months and I had all these girls going at the same time. I wouldn't do that today, but I did it at the time because I was young and stupid. I've learned my lesson. It's too much of a headache now, but at the time it was a lot of fun.
Okay. And those South Korean women like foreigners, and if so, is there a specific ethnicity they like or just foreigners in general?
Oh, well, it's interesting because there are girls who like what's called a gyeopo. It's like a Korean-born, American-born Korean. And a lot of them come back to Korea to teach English or get a job in a company. There's girls who like these kinds of guys. There's girls who like the white guy with the green eyes or blue eyes. And there's girls who like the black guys. And so to the girls who like the black guys, there will be like certain bars you go to where black guys hang out, and these girls will go to these bars to meet those black guys, like usually a black American kind of guy, because there's army bases there. So because of that, there's a lot of black Americans. And there are a lot of girls who like these guys. They say they got cool personalities, nice bodies. I've heard girls talking about them. But yeah, black guys are popular too.
Okay. Did you ever date or bang any of your South Korean students or their friends?
Let's see, like a student. Wow, well, there were... Let's see, if I said yes, there's going to be a lot of guys on here who are going to say, this is an unethical guy. Okay, but honestly, I would say, like, obviously, over 20 years, right, there was a lot of experience going on here, right? So, like, when you say students, I've taught everyone from kindergarten up to, 50 years old, right? And so there were times when, the sort of night classes will have adult students. And then what'll happen often is someone or a group of them, the adults, will ask you to come out to a bar, have a beer with them. And then from there, it's happened where, it's one of the students, like a female, I don't know, 30 years old, let's just say, something like that, an adult, right? And she will ask you to go to a second bar with just her.
Okay.
And usually what that means is you're from there, you're going to go back to your place or something like that. But that's sort of the process it goes. But as far as married women or single women, it's just over 20 years, there's a lot of stories to be told. Yes, yes.
Okay. You said in your Korean video that some Korean women were screwing foreigners on the side and enjoying it. How did you become aware of this infidelity, or were you actively banging as well?
Well, let's see here. Because basically, the friends I hung out with over the years were kind of guys like me, from Canada, America, Australia. And we were there teaching and having fun. And basically everyone there was banging, their students, married women. And so, we talk about it, and, the women will say, well, my husband's, being, with these other women, so I'm free to do what I want. And like, if you want to get to specific examples, my best friend was tutoring 3 older women, maybe 40s, 50s. And they would chat, right, on the phone. And so my one friend was leaving. He was going back to Canada, okay? But one of the girls liked my friend. So they were chatting, and she says to him, these hints, like, do you need anything before you leave? These kinds of hints, right?
Okay.
And then he sort of passed it off. No, I think I'm okay. Anyway, it was the day before he was leaving, and she says, meet me at this hotel at 8 p.m. And so he went there at 8 p.m., and there she was. And, they did the deed. And then he came back like 6 months later, and they started dating. She's married. It's a married woman. And, they were dating on the side. It happens.
Did you ever consider marrying a South Korean? And do you think they would make good wives for foreigner? Why or why not?
Yeah, like my whole 30s, like I had this mindset where I wanted to get married. I just wanted to settle down in one place because I was sort of tired of moving. So I thought, okay, I want to marry a Korean woman because I was happy there in Korea, very happy with my life there. And I thought, I would love to get a condo, an apartment, a car, just really settle down in South Korea. But the whole 30s went by and there was no wife. And so when I hit 40, I sort of realized, like, oh God, I kind of dodged a bullet there, because what I realized was, like, my friends who did marry, they were not really happy because South Korean women, I'm going to generalize here, but they have this mindset where it's just not good enough. Like, once they get the apartment, they got to have the furniture. And once they get the furniture, they got to, I don't know, get their hair done, and then once they get their hair done, it's just always going up. I can't give specific examples of what I mean, but you get the general idea. They're going the way of Western women, where they rely on the guy a lot. And a lot of the foreigners there do not make a lot of money like me. We're just teachers. But because in Korea, there's this mindset where you've got to be equal or better than your friends. And if you're not, they think everyone looks down on you. I don't think it's true. And I think, well, who cares if they do look down on you? But this is the mindset. So because of that, things can get rocky when you got a Korean wife. And the reason is, it's not your wife's fault. It's the general society. They all think the same way. In South Korea, everyone thinks 99% of people think the same way.
Okay. Last South Korean question. There are many Filipina living and working in Korea. Have you ever met any? If so, any relationship with Filipina in South Korea?
Well, okay, interesting question, because my longest relationship, I hate to admit it, I'm really putting myself out there for judgment, but my longest relationship was with a Filipina in Korea. I think it was about 4 years, 5 years, and she was married. She was married, and stupid me. We were together for about 3 years before I even knew she was married.
Oh my God.
And she just had these different stories. I mean, she even invited me to her house, like when the family wasn't there, but she was married to a Korean guy. They had 2 kids. I was dating her, but the story she told me was that she was half Korean. Her mother was Filipina, her dad was Korean, and she was the daughter living in that house. That's, as I knew, that was the reality. Because she was older than me, but she looked, I could show you a picture of her. I shouldn't, but I mean, she looked extremely young. And today, I think she's older than me, a few years older than me, but I mean, she looks like she's 25 today. So she would today be 47 maybe. She looks unbelievably young, right? So when I was dating her, she was young. She did look very young, and I believed her story because, I mean, if I tell you I'm from America, are you going to not believe me? Right? I mean, you just know what people tell you. I wasn't questioning it. I mean, the reality of her being married with 2 kids, that was the furthest thing from my mind, right? Anyway, I was too busy. I was, dating other women while I was with her anyway. So I wasn't really thinking too much about this girl. But we worked together, on and off for quite a long time. And it was only after about 3 years before she actually told me the real story.
Okay. And Scott, can you quickly summarize the difference between dating a South Korean and a Filipina in terms of meeting them, expectation, and socializing with them?
Oh, good question. Because what I like about a Filipina is you can just bring her to McDonald's and, I'm a simple guy, someone might call me cheap having a first date at McDonald's, but that's just the kind of guy I am, If the girl doesn't like it, then I don't have to date the girl. I'm quite happy being by myself. But I mean, when you're in Korea and you're with the Korean girls there, the dating scene, it's, it's the Starbucks, it's the nice restaurants, it's this kind of thing. And so, I like the simplicity of the Filipina. And on top of that, I love these girls who don't wear any makeup. Like lip tint is popular here because that's what they can get, right? Whereas in Korea, the women wear a ton of makeup. And I'm not a makeup kind of guy, especially when it comes to that foundation. I mean, ridiculous the amount of makeup they wear there. And that's a big turnoff for me. So I do love the Filipina, the simple kind of Filipina.
Okay. And why have you chosen the Philippines as your country of choice? Is it the climate, food, people, environment, friendliness, and what?
Good question. Because when I first came here, I was 19 because I met a girl at home online who introduced me to the Philippines. Now at the time, I didn't know anything about the Philippines, where it was on the map, anything, right? So she brought me here. And I think because I came here so long ago and at a young age, and my first impression being here was, I like this way more than Vancouver. We landed in Manila. Her family was in Manila. And so the very first trip here, it was for 1 month in Manila. We were staying with her family in a house. And I fell in love with it on day 1. And I was in love with it every single day. And by the time 30 days was up, I don't want to go home. It was cold back home because we were here in December. And so we were going back home in January. I'm thinking, going home is the last thing I want to do. But we had to go home because I was too young. I didn't have any money or anything. And so I got home. It's freezing cold. It's the, hustle and bustle of a big city. And one thing on my mind, here I am, 19. I got to live in the Philippines. And it's now I'm 44. It's only now that I'm 44 and I've got a YouTube channel that's given me some income, but it's only now after 25 years of having it on my mind to live here where I'm actually here, living here.
Okay. Have you had any long-distance relationship with a Filipina before arrival here? How did it end, and what is your opinion of long-distance relationship?
Yeah, well, I guess there were 2 LDRs I had, and one was before the pandemic, and then one was, I guess, after, or during and after when I actually met her. But the one before the pandemic was in CDO. Beautiful girl, fell in love with her right away. We were chatting for about 6 months before I actually arrived, and we had big plans, and we were, I was puppy dog in love with her. But when I actually came here, things were different.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't love her as much as I thought I did, and she was not clear with me exactly what her expectations were of me. And my fault too, you know, I sort of promised her too much. Excuse me. I promised her too much, more than I could actually deliver. So anyway, the foundation was not good with that girl, and we ended up breaking up. And the second LDR was the one recently in Butuan, where we were chatting for 2 years during the pandemic, because I really wanted some connection to the Philippines, and I met this LDR on a dating website. And so we're talking for 2 years, and we're in love. And I arrived there in Butuan, and you know, a lot of people who watched the channel know it did not work out. And so that was my second time, and you know, that's enough for me. Like, I am never doing LDR again. It might work for a lot of people out there. It did not work for me, and I don't like the feeling of LDR anymore. So from now on, I'm living here. I'm just going to stick to girls who I'm meeting in person.
Okay. You like the village, province, and mountain Filipinas, and have had some really beautiful and young Filipina. Why do you think you are still single after so many beautiful women desiring you?
Well, let's see. There was a beautiful island girl called, I call her the Bohol girl, and we were going to get married. She was the one for me. Now, because of the pandemic, I left. The pandemic kept us apart, and because she was not faithful while I was gone in Korea, she got pregnant from the neighbor during the lockdown.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, and so we broke up, and that was an example of like a real life reason of why I'd probably be married today if there was no pandemic. But you know, everything happens for a reason. And so it did not work out, and I guess that's that. But that's one example of why sort of I have not gotten married yet. And then the other reason is, you know, maybe it just wasn't the right timing, the right girl. But I am hoping that within sort of the next 2 years or so, I do find the perfect girl for me. That's just my goal. That's my hope. But of course, we can't predict the future, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can't know what's going to happen. That's just what I want to happen. I do want to meet the right girl, and I want to get married, and I want to get the whole house thing set up. Because, you know, I've been traveling my whole life. My big dream is to just build a small little tiny house and just spend the rest of my life in this house. That's really, really what I want, what I desire in life right now.
Okay. Your channel soared and spurted in growth overnight. What do you contribute to your sudden popularity and exponential growth?
Well, I think that a lot of the stories I had, and I was very lucky, I've been coming here for 20 years, so I had a lot of stories. So I started my channel when I was in South Korea, and the goal was that I could start a channel and get monetized by the time I actually land here. That was my big hope, my big dream. And so I was very lucky that over the 20 years, I did have a lot of stories to tell. So I was surprised myself. I had enough stories to last an entire year. So by the time I landed here, I actually had some platform, some way to make money when I got here. But as far as the growth goes, I think people just like reality, no holds bars. Now, the thing is, when I was putting out vids at the beginning, it was a lot of S talk, okay? I'm not going to say the big word here, but you know how people get pregnant, right? Okay,
Yes.
There was a lot of that going on in my channel, and even drawings of stick men in the act, because I just wanted to recreate the scene for myself, because it was mind-blowing. Such happy memories in the past, and I wanted to recreate it as real as possible. But because I was coming here, I thought, you know, I gotta be a clean little boy. You know, now I'm here. I don't want to come across like I'm not a good boy. So I got rid of the ones that were getting a bit too detailed, and I just stuck with the vids that were a little more on the clean side.
Okay. Okay, you see in a video that you need to lose 10 kilos. Are you on a daily exercise regimen, and what is a typical male day like for you?
Well, the thing is, I did a walking around vid in Butuan, okay? And then I realized, holy cow, I'm fatter than I thought. I didn't even realize. I mean, that's why I started wearing all black shirts now, because when I wear like another color shirts, my stomach sticks out. And so it was kind of embarrassing. So it's kind of like a third tire around my, like just fat coming out my back, fat coming out my front. And I didn't even realize it. Nobody told me until I saw it myself. And so I realized, okay, I better shape up a bit. So what I want to do is settle down in one spot, join a gym, and get on a meal plan. Because when you're traveling around all the time, it's hard to join gyms. So you got to hunt around for the right one, but you know, you're moving soon, so why bother? And then also, when you're not settled down in one spot, you haven't found your daily routine, it's so easy to just go to McDonald's or something if you want to eat. So yeah, I'm cutting down on my food now, and I'm trying to eat healthier, but I'm waiting till I settle down before I really get into the, like, going to the gym and pumping iron and stuff.
Okay. What cities in the Philippines have you lived so far, and did you have relationship in each city or cities?
Well, let's see here. Yeah, not many, because like the thing is, I was like a long time ago in Manila when I had that Manila girlfriend. We would travel all over, all the way up to Baguio, all the way down to Mindoro. And so that was, you know, traveling around, getting the experience. And then, you know, in 2008, I met Farah, and Farah was in Cavite. So I got to know Cavite very well. And then on my other trips in the past, it was always in Manila. So I'm more comfortable in Manila. But on my, just before the pandemic, when I was doing a backpacking trip for 5 months, it was all in the south. I wanted to see Dumaguete, and my LDR was in CDO, so I went there. And my last LDR a couple months ago was in Butuan, so I went there. And I always recommend to people, like, if you do these LDRs, the best thing that comes from it, even if it breaks up, is that you saw some location that you would never have seen before. Because like when I'm in Butuan, when I'm talking to the other guys, nobody thinks by themselves they're going to go to Butuan. It's because they met a girl there. That's what brought them to Butuan. And that's the same way with Calbayog and, you know, these northern Luzon cities. You know, it's some girl brings them there. And you would never have thought to go there otherwise. So that is the best thing that does come out of an LDR.
Okay. In your opinion, do you think your ethnicity gives you an advantage over other groups in meeting a Filipina or South Korea woman?
A South Korean woman. I think so, because like, for example, when I was working with sort of Chinese or Indian Americans who were there working, they did not get much attention. But the foreign guy did, right? But it really comes down to, like, are you tall? You know, the same thing that would make you attractive in the West or in whatever country you're from is going to also make you attractive, because, you know, there were guys who were, you know, foreigners there, but, you know, they're 300 pounds. So they did not get many women. If guys had a beard, they did not get much attention from girls. So really, just having some kind of thing that makes a girl attracted to you goes a long way. It's not really the ethnicity, but the ethnicity does make you stand out. But also at the same time, it'll make a girl totally unattracted to you because she only wants a Korean guy. So if they see a foreigner, you're already cutting like a 70% of Korean women out. But the 30% really like foreigners. So it's not all bad. Anyway, that's that.
Okay. And you are in Cebu or Lapu-Lapu now. Will you be here an extensive amount of time, or it is just in your bucket list of locations?
No, I only came here because of Derek from Q Adventures. That's the only reason I came here. He was friendly. He offered me a place to stay. The price was good. And so I wanted to come here and stay with him, because I was last in with Sunshine Shoulders in San Carlos. Yeah. And so it wasn't too far to come here. So I just thought, oh, cool, I'll come here. And so, yeah, that's what brought me here. As far as Lapu-Lapu as a city, I don't really like it that much because it's more of a tourist place. And it's not like, there's like a lot of resorts around. And it's got that tourist environment to it where it's not really my thing. At the same time, you know, Angeles City is sort of a tourist place, but I do like Angeles City because it's got that bar culture, it's got that foreigner culture. See, the thing is, there's a lot of South Koreans and Chinese here, right? So you sit down at a bar, you can't really associate people. But if you're an Angelus, there's a lot of guys who look like me, look like they're American. And so if you go there, if you're an Angelus and you sit down at a bar, happens all the time to me. You have a conversation with him, you have a conversation with him. Next thing you know, you got all these friends who you're not really close friends, but next time you go to the bar and you see them, it's like, oh, hey, Jim, how you doing? So that's the beauty of Angelus. But Lapu-Lapu, for me, it's I'm leaving in a few days, and I don't think I'm going to come back. For me, I know Cebu City is popular. Cebu City, Lapu-Lapu, it's popular with foreigners. But for me, it just doesn't have the chemistry that I'm looking for. But it is popular. I'm more of a Manila kind of guy.
Okay. When you were in Angeles City, you said Feli and wife hate you. And Dumaguete, you said Mike Thornton hates you. Why do you believe this popular blogger hates you? You had a successful visit to San Carlos and no concern.
Well, I was kind of dramatizing when it came to Philly Willie. Okay, so Philly Willie in Angeles, he was, I did see him. He did not want to have a coffee with me, although he was with his wife and he was doing something. So I sort of dramatized that because that's just the kind of video I was in the mood to make at the time. Okay. If I just said I was in this a cafe and Philly in the Philippines walked by, there's no sense really making a video about it. You know, it's just not a big deal. But, you know, I made this whole thing where, you know, we're going to be on HBO. We're going to have a big confrontation. And so anyway, a lot of guys did not like that. But that was the mood I was in when I made that video. And who was the other guy? Oh, Mark Thornton. Yeah, because the thing is, we had been talking. And I don't think he knew I had a YouTube channel. But we had been talking about meeting. And he said, contact him one day before I get there. And so I contacted him sort of a week out, a day out. And so when I contacted him, he said he's meeting some guys tomorrow, a group of guys. So I thought, okay, I assumed, you know, we're going to meet a group of guys. And then I told him he did know that I wanted to interview. I assumed I didn't want to get into too much detail over the phone that we were going to have an interview after. But, you know, like on the video explains, you know, it's sort of he passed me off. And so instead of me sort of, please, you know, please interview me. You know, I didn't want to go down that route because he made it clear that he was going to be busy for a few days. And so I took off to see Sunshine Shoulders, and Sunshine Shoulders sort of renewed my faith in humanity because he was such, like you can't understand what a great guy Sunshine Shoulders is.
Okay. Please explain the top 3 places you recommended to meet a Filipina wife and why.
I would say, like, if I was going to give the advice, if your goal was to meet a Filipino wife, it would be, for me, it would be like the suburbs of Manila, because that's where, in my opinion, that's where you get the most attention. Now, it's, as far as, like, in general, where to meet a Filipino wife, like, you really got to ask yourself what interests you. Like, what kind of girl do you want? Because if I tell you what kind of girl I want, you're going to say, oh, I totally disagree with him, right? Now, if I'm interested in, like, I've been bashed a bit because I'm interested in girls who are a little lower on the economic status, you know, and that's just what I like. You know, if you want a multimillionaire with a private jet, that's totally cool. You know, I'm not going to say that's wrong, you know, but, you know, just I am the way I am. I like simple girls. And so simple girls are the one who don't have much money. I'm not saying I want it for, you know, I want a woman who's suppressed or something like that, or I can dominate. It's not that at all. No. I just like a simple girl. I like a girl who's happy to go to Jollibee. Now, a lot of guys don't like this. Scotty, how can you bring a girl to Jollibee? That's not very gentlemanly, but that's how I am. You know, I like a simple life. I don't want a girl who's got these big expectations. She wants to be a corporate raider, you know, and she wants to get her master's degree. And I don't like that kind of girl. You know, I just want to settle down, have a quiet life. And I want a girl who's just going to be simple, not give me a headache about anything. And she's happy to, you know, cook. We can cook together. We can clean the house together. But I don't want that girl who's the Western mindset of independence and, you know, well, I'm working too, so you got to do half the chores. You know, I don't want that kind of girl. Going to give me a headache. It's like, I've seen it too much in my family at home, and I don't want to go down that route. So I like the girl who's very simple and she doesn't have a big expectations of what she expects from me because I just want a happy, simple life. That's all I want, you know? And if a girl doesn't want also like what I want, then we're probably not going to be a match. So where I look for a girl is sort of the places that are not Makati, are not the richest places. Because the girl's there, she's got all the makeup on, she wears the blouse, the high heels, she's got that look to her, and a lot of guys like that. That's fantastic. But I like the girl who wears slippers, she wears those, shorts, some ukay t-shirt, and she's out the door. She just puts on a ponytail and she's out the door, no makeup or anything. You know, that's the kind of simple girl that I really like. And so I go to where those girls are.
Okay. You have stayed with a Filipina family and slept with their daughter. What are your initial intention when you sleep with a family and their daughter? And why do you think it ends in failure?
Well, that was when I was 19. I was staying with her family and we were sleeping in the same bed together. I think the family was just open. I mean, because they knew we were living together in Vancouver. So it'd kind of be like, they wanted me to be comfortable. They wanted their daughter to be comfortable. And so since we're already living together, I mean, if I was like a Filipino guy from a barangay, they probably wouldn't allow me to sleep there. But since, you know, I came a long way with her and they knew we were in love, they knew we were living together. So they just allowed us. And, you know, she's kind of like the, the breadwinner in the family.
Okay.
And so they were going to listen to her. If she says, you know, we're going to sleep in the same bed, then they're not going to argue with her. So, you know, we slept in the same bed for a month and, you know, nobody had a problem with it. So, you know, everything was cool and it did not work out at the end, but we weren't together for 4 or 5 years or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. Many foreigners come to the Philippines to marry, retire, or enjoy paradise. What would you call yourself to date in the Philippines? An expat, sexpat, smooth operator, banger, player, lay, and the hay, explorer, or a man sampling the menu? Does any apply to you?
Well, you know, you got to wake up in the morning and follow your heart, you know? And so if you meet some girl, you never know. She's going to be the one you spend the rest of your life with. She could be a girl that you hook up and sleep with that same day. It's really, you know, what is Mother Nature provide you, you know? I mean, like when I walk out the door at the gate here and walk down the street, I don't know what's coming my way, right? It could be the girl of my dreams. So really, the whole point is like not to look for the girl of your dreams, as I'm guilty of doing, but just let nature provide you, you know, what comes your way, and sort of you make the best of it. And so if you meet a girlfriend and you date for 5 years, okay, right? Or if you meet the girl and you end up getting married after 1 month because you're so head over heels, well, okay. If you meet a girl and you end up being friends, nothing more, then that's cool too, you know? But really, it's about enjoying your day, you know? You got to enjoy your day, and then hopefully the right people will come your way. Because look, if I'm sitting at a cafe and I look grumpy, maybe no girl's going to come to me. No girl's going to be attracted to me. But if I got a smile on my face and, you know, I got a positive, my back straight, I got a positive look about me, maybe some girl's going to be looking at me, you know, maybe I get some, you know, eye contact going on with some girl in the cafe, and, you know, maybe I can go up and say hello. But it's really you got to enjoy your day. And because if you enjoy your day, you never lose, right?
Okay.
So yeah. All of the above, you know, you got to be open-minded, you know, like there are, mostly men are open-minded. Women are like, I don't want to play. I want to get a serious relationship. Now, what I recommend to women is just enjoy your day, because a guy likes a girl who's got an open mind, right? You could be smart about it, but you've got to, if the girl's sort of like, I've got to have things this way, this way, this way, it's not going to happen, because guys don't like that. Okay. So moral of the story, you know, whatever happens as far as being a sexpat or an expat or a banger or whatever, just enjoy your day and allow nature to bring you whatever it brings you.
Okay, enjoy life. Okay, Scott, thank you for the second interview, and I will put Scott YouTube channel, The Regular Guy, in the video description. So thank you so much. Bye.